What is up, guys? Burning Heavy here, and I have what I think would be the best change to the NFL playoffs. Now, I know a lot of people would be against this because it's adding teams. A lot of people seem to think that fewer teams in the playoffs means it's more, I don't know, elite to make the playoffs. It's a bigger deal to make the playoffs. I mean, just look at baseball. Only 5 teams from each league make the playoffs. To me, that's way too low. I'm a fan of the more the merrier in the playoffs because then you have a better representation of the league as a whole. That's why I like the 8 teams per conference that the NBA and the NHL have. I think that can be a bit crazy, especially when it comes to the OHL, where all but 2 teams per conference make the playoffs. But here, half the teams make the playoffs. Especially in a season like this, every team that makes the playoffs is going to finish 9-7 or 8-8. Now, what I have here is what I think it would be to finish the season. There could be some, like week 17, there could be some changes that nobody really foresees happening. Well, like at the bottom, you can see the Titans win, they would be in. But all these teams are at least 9-7. That won't always be the case. A lot of times there are, 8-8 teams. There aren't that many 9-7 teams. But with this system, you're never going to see a 10-6 team miss the playoffs. I think that is a gross injustice, especially when in the other conference there's a 7-9 team or a 8-8 team making the playoffs when a 10-6 team misses the playoffs. To me, that's bullshit. This combines both conferences into a single playoff. So the conference and division really only exists to make rivalries, and that's about it. Rivalries and scheduling. I think this would be good because there'd be more meetings between teams from separate conferences that mean something. And I also like this because it would add more football. Everybody has to win 3 games to get to the Super Bowl. There's no more buys. So, without extending the season, which the owners seem to want to do, to make more money, the players really don't like that. And the coaches don't like the idea of cutting into the preseason because they like that time to see what the young guys can do, what their backups can do in the case that they have to use them. This would provide more meaningful football because all 17 weeks would matter, there's teams here making the playoffs that are technically eliminated now. So a lot fewer teams would spend the entire season eliminated. You would have more meaningful football in weeks 15, 16, and 17. And overall, I think it would be really good for the league. Plus, you would reignite old rivalries from the separate conferences, like Steelers versus Cowboys could become a thing. Which I think, and speaking of Steelers versus Cowboys, in my playoff bracket, Steelers and Cowboys would play in the first round. That was a big rivalry in the 70s. Division foes that don't play that much in the same conference, they'd be playing the playoffs more often. Like the Raiders and Steelers would probably see each other more, get that thing going. Overall, I think it would be better for football to have the 16-team playoff, and it wouldn't mean we'd have to add any rounds, just no more buys. That's all. Okay, so how does this work? Well, you take the whole NFL. Top 8 teams get the home game in week 1, and then the highest remaining seeds, so like the top 4 teams in the next round, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it would just be like a standard bracket: 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15. Just like a basketball, the NCAA, except I see the 16s actually winning from time to time. But what about divisions? Divisions guarantee nothing. They don't guarantee a home game. They don't guarantee a playoff game. If you win the division, congratulations. Go fuck yourself if your record's not high enough. What it does do is, let's say there are 2 teams with the same record. Alright, 2 10-5s, 10-6s, 2 11-5s. The first check for the tiebreaker, who gets the higher seed, is did this team win the division? So let's say the Rams, well, this actually probably will happen. The Rams and the Panthers have the same record. Okay? The tiebreaker check that comes first is, okay, did the team win the division? Rams versus Saints, did the team win the division? That question for both is answered yes. Rams versus Panthers, Saints versus Panthers. The question is, did your team win the division? The answer is no. So the Panthers, of those teams looking to finish 12-4, the Panthers are the odd man out. But if you look at this, instead of having a road playoff game in the first week of the playoffs, the Panthers have a home playoff game versus the Ravens. That'd be a good game. And then the Jaguars and the Chiefs will play each other, with the Jaguars being at home and the Chiefs being on the road, even though they won the division. Now, I don't know head-to-heads. I didn't go into research on that, so the numbering might be different. I don't know who has tiebreakers. I just looked at points for. And I'm also looking with the assumption that the Chargers and Bills win and the Titans lose. I could see the Chargers losing, potentially, to the Raiders. But I also think they'll probably win. I think the Bills are a better team than the Jets. In all honesty, though, they're not that good at teams. The Chargers hype train is stupid. They're a bad team that's gotten lucky. And I just have the Bills in there because they haven't been to the playoffs in forever. But they'd be barely eking in, and there'd be 8-8 teams missing the playoffs. But if you look at this, the Lions and Cowboys are not eliminated. They're making the playoffs. So, they can lose in the first round like everybody expected them to at the start of the season. I like this because you're going to have much more varied matchups. One critique I can hear is, oh, well, you have AFC versus AFC or NFC versus NFC in the Super Bowl. Okay. Those are the two best teams in the league. Shouldn't they be playing in the Super Bowl? Like, I don't understand the obsession that it's like it has to be separated. You want to see the best team. Some of these teams are gotten lucky by playing bad teams. The Ravens, Bills, they barely have more points for than they have against. Okay. They're not that good of teams. So if you look at it, the teams that are the top seeds, they're the top seeds. Top 4. Yeah. Look, come on, Jaguars, Chiefs in the first round. It's not going to happen right now because they're both division champs. They wouldn't be able to face off until the championship game if they both make it. But now we have it in the first round, and that's going to be a good game. One complaint would be no bye week. I'm okay with that. Well, what's to encourage you to finish with the higher seed? Which would you rather play? The Bills or the fucking Ravens? Or the Seahawks? I'd rather play the Bills. I'm sorry, I'd rather play the Bills. But at the same time, I could see the Bills beating the Eagles. I could really see the Bills beating the Eagles. The Eagles have not looked good recently, especially on offense. And I'll see the Chargers beating the Patriots, or the Cowboys beating the Steelers, or the Lions beating the Falcons. Not the Falcons, the Vikings. But it could happen. And then you'd have Falcons versus Rams. That would be a good game. And we might actually end up seeing that anyway in the first round of the playoffs. Saints, Seahawks again. That's probably going to be the first round. No, it would be Rams, Seahawks. But it's close. Panthers, Ravens. That would be a good game. That'd be a good matchup. And Jaguars, Chiefs. Again, a good matchup. So you'd have better first round matchups a lot of times. And you'd have a better chance for true upsets. I could see the Bills beating the Eagles. The Eagles are the number 1 seed in the NFL playoffs from my system. Let me know what you guys think of this. I think it's good. You might not. Let me know what you think. Let me know what changes or tweaks you would make. And as always, have a wonderful day.